The year 2026 began not with a pop anthem or a viral dance craze, but with the haunting, soulful resonance of a voice that feels like it was pulled directly from a 1990s time capsule. When John Foster took the stage at the Rose Parade on New Year's Day, he wasn't just performing for a crowd. He was representing the official cultural ambassador of Louisiana. But behind that polished, televised image lies a story of rapid-fire success that has left industry insiders both stunned and skeptical. Just 12 months ago, John was a biology student at LSU, spending his Friday nights and Saturday mornings working the counter at his family's meat market in Addis. He was the kid who brought a cooler of Cajun meat to his first major audition, a gesture that many at the time dismissed as a gimmick. Today, however, no one is laughing. Reporters on the ground in Nashville are calling him the neo-traditionalist savior, a title that carries an immense weight for someone who isn't even old enough to buy a drink in the venues he's now headlining. His rise has been so meteoric that it has bypassed the traditional gatekeepers of country music, sparking intense debate about whether the American Idol machine actually helped him or if he succeeded in spite of it. As we look at the trajectory of his career in 2026, it becomes clear that this isn't just about a kid who can sing. It's about a cultural shift back toward authenticity in an era of AI-generated hooks and overprocessed vocals. But as the spotlight intensifies, so do the questions about the cost of this overnight transformation from a local butcher's son to a global ambassador. The transition from the bayou to the big stage was instantaneous, leaving many to wonder if the foundation is strong enough to hold the massive career being built upon it. What the cameras didn't show you during his televised rise was the devastating source of his most famous lyrics. To truly understand why John Foster's music resonates with such a visceral, somber energy, you have to look back to a dark night in 2022 that changed the landscape of his life forever. While many fans see his breakout hit, Tell That Angel I Love Her, as a beautiful tribute, the reality behind the song is rooted in a horrific high-speed police pursuit that ended in a fatal collision. This incident took the lives of two of John's closest friends, including Maggie Dunn, a tragedy that sent shockwaves through their tight-knit community. For a long time, John didn't speak of the event, choosing instead to internalize the grief while he balanced his studies and his work. Investigative reports into his early days in the industry suggest that he almost didn't audition for the spotlight at all, feeling that pursuing fame was a betrayal of the quiet life his friends would never get to lead. However, it was a letter left behind by Maggie, a piece of paper he reportedly still carries in his pocket during every single performance, that finally pushed him to take the stage. In the newsroom, we often see artists try to manufacture relatability, but for John, the scars are literal and deep. This wasn't a PR strategy, it was a survival mechanism. He didn't just sing for the judges, he sang to process a level of loss that most 19-year-olds can't even fathom. This emotional depth is exactly what the Idol judges noticed, but they didn't realize they were tapping into a well of grief that was both his greatest strength and his most private burden. As he tore through 2026, the question remains: how long can an artist continue to perform their most painful memories for a cheering crowd before the weight of that angel becomes too heavy to carry? Speculation is reaching a fever pitch. Did John Foster actually lose his competition on purpose to escape a legal trap? The history of televised talent competitions is littered with winners who disappeared after 6 months, but 2026 has revealed a curious trend regarding those who finish in second place. When John Foster was named the runner-up of season 23, the internet exploded with claims that the vote was rigged. But as we dig deeper into the runner-up curse, a different theory emerges, one that suggests losing was the best business move John ever made. In the high-stakes world of reality TV contracts, winners are often bound by restrictive, multi-year agreements that dictate everything from their wardrobe to their creative direction. By taking the silver medal, John may have bypassed the most suffocating clauses of the winner's circle. Recent whispers from Nashville insiders suggest that John's team was already in talks with independent labels and traditional country purists long before the finale aired. This has led to intense speculation that he, or his advisors, navigated the competition with the goal of gaining maximum exposure without the long-term legal shackles that usually follow a victory. Furthermore, the supposed rivalry with fellow contestant Jamal Roberts has been framed by some as a calculated distraction, drawing eyes away from the fact that John was building his own infrastructure outside of the show's ecosystem. While other contestants were following the script, John was reportedly planning his international tour through Switzerland and Canada, territories usually reserved for established legends. If these rumors are true, it would mean that a 19-year-old meat market worker outsmarted some of the biggest executives in the entertainment industry. The conspiracy isn't about the votes. It's about the freedom he managed to keep while everyone else was focused on the trophy. Behind the sold-out shows and the ambassador titles, a secret war for creative control is being fought in the shadows of the studio. As we move into the second quarter of 2026, a glaring question has begun to circulate among music critics and hardcore fans alike. Where is the debut studio album? Despite having the most momentum of any artist in his genre, John Foster has yet to drop a full-length project this year. This delay has sparked intense speculation regarding a secret legal war involving predatory 360 deals. These types of contracts allow a company to take a percentage of every single penny an artist makes, from touring to merchandise to acting gigs, and they are notoriously difficult to break. Rumors are swirling that John's sudden rise caught the attention of old guard executives who attempted to lock him into a decade-long arrangement that would strip him of his songwriting rights. Sources close to the production team suggest that John has been shelving recordings because they don't meet his standard of traditional country, while the suits are pushing for a more pop radio-friendly sound. This conflict highlights a massive rift in the industry, the battle between corporate polish and Cajun grit. The accusation surfaced recently that some of his unreleased material was being held hostage until he agreed to certain branding changes. For a young man who prides himself on his Catholic faith and his Louisiana roots, these demands are reportedly a deal-breaker. This isn't just a delay, it's a standoff. While he continues to tour internationally, the lack of a physical record suggests that the meat market kid is currently standing his ground against a multi-billion-dollar machine. If he wins this battle, he could redefine how young artists navigate fame in the digital age. If he loses, he may become another cautionary tale of a talent silenced by a signature on the wrong line. How does a global sensation go from headlining international festivals to studying biology at LSU in the same week? One of the most baffling aspects of John Foster's 2026 trajectory is his insistence on maintaining a normal life in the face of absolute chaos. Reporters have spotted him on the LSU campus, attempting to blend in as a biology student between massive tour dates in Europe and North America. It's a jarring contrast. One day he is the face of a state, shaking hands with dignitaries and performing for millions. The next, he is back in Addis, potentially behind the counter of the family business. This dual life has led to questions about his mental health and the sustainability of such a grueling pace. Is he staying in school as a backup plan, or is it a desperate attempt to stay grounded while the industry tries to turn him into a product? Recent rumors have suggested that the pressure is starting to show, with some claiming that the cultural ambassador role is more of a burden than an honor. He is expected to be a role model, a traditionalist, a student, and a superstar all at once. Furthermore, the transition from his quiet upbringing to the rock star lifestyle has brought unwanted attention to his private life. There are whispers of a secret legal war, not just with labels, but with the sheer logistics of his fame. He has become a target for those who want to exploit his wholesome image, and the stress of maintaining that image is reportedly immense. Yet, those who know him say his faith and his family are the only things keeping him from a total burnout. As he prepares for the next leg of his tour, the world is watching to see which version of John Foster will ultimately prevail, the biology student from the bayou or the global icon of country music. The answer may determine whether he becomes a legacy act or a flash in the pan. In a world of digital voices and fake personas, is John Foster the last real thing we have left, or is he just the latest victim of the hype? As 2026 progresses, the story of John Foster has evolved into something much larger than a music career. It has become a litmus test for the future of entertainment. He stands at a crossroads where tradition meets the modern machine, and the friction is starting to create sparks. The final thought for many observing this rise is whether we are witnessing the birth of a legend or the gradual dismantling of a young man's soul. He has survived the runner-up curse, navigated the grief of a tragic 2022 loss, and stood up to the predatory whispers of Nashville's elite. But the untold story of John Foster is still being written in real time. The most shocking element of his rise isn't his voice or his food or his humble beginnings. It's his refusal to change. In an industry that demands constant evolution and rebranding, John has remained stubbornly, almost defiantly, the same person who walked onto that audition stage with a cooler full of meat. This year will likely be remembered as the moment he either solidified his place in the Hall of Fame or disappeared back into the quiet life of a Louisiana butcher. Whether he's singing about angels or studying biology, the world is now hooked on the narrative of the kid who wouldn't sell out. As the curtain closes on this chapter of his rise, we are left to wonder if the meat market kid will be the one to finally break the cycle of manufactured stardom. Only time will tell if his traditionalist heart can survive the modern world, but for now, the music hasn't stopped, and the crowd is only getting louder. One thing is certain: John Foster is no longer just a name on a ballot. He is a symbol of a generation searching for something that actually feels real.